Hello once again, fellow people, to another episode of Katawa Shoujo. I should probably be looking up my classes right now, but I decided to spend a little time with you. Alright, let's get on with it. A little load from where we were last time. Lunch evolution theory. I feel very tired this morning, probably because yesterday itself was a very tiring day. On top of that, I woke up far earlier than necessary. Yeah. After saying hi to Shizune and Misha, I start to do the work as instructed from the board. It already looks like today is going to be heavy. I don't have a problem with that now. Shizune and Misha might jump on me to try to get an answer about whether or not I've decided to join the student council, even if it's just one day. Wouldn't put it past them to try, and I don't have an answer for them if they do. So this situation is convenient for me. About 10 minutes into class, Hanako walks in and takes a seat, but no one looks at her. The teacher doesn't even comment on her lateness. He does, however, stop us to say that we're going to break into groups again. I turn my head and see Shizune and Misha looking at me. Shizune gives me a smile that is equal parts cute and menacing. There's a smile that says, "We have you now. There is no escape." He-chan, it looks like we're together again. Yay, yay! Holy crap! Misha leans sideways while Shizune pushes her desk closer to mine. There really is no escape now, unless I were to jump through the window. Jumping out the window isn't the best option, sadly. I don't know, it might be. It just depends. What's wrong, He-chan? Oh, He-chan, have you been thinking about what you said yesterday? That you would think about joining the student council, didn't you? It's okay, He-chan. We were talking about it after you left, and it would be rude to expect you to already have an answer for us this early, right? Right. Ha 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 ha. I'm so happy you two were able to have a laugh at my expense. Even more pleased to know that you both know how crazy the two of you can be. At least you didn't say that to their face. Now that it's over, Shizune snaps back into serious mode and smacks today's assignment with the back of her hand in an overly dramatic and important way. When I actually look at the stuff, it's mostly just reading. In fact, there are only two problems. I almost want to say about how her rush to get started seems a bit much, considering the small amount of work. In fact, Shizune probably knows how little there is, but simply doesn't care. Yeah, it seems like the workload doesn't matter to her as much as the fact that there is work. The actual amount is unimportant. She approaches everything with the same level of ambition. While I'm reading, I let my eyes wander across the room and catch Hanako trying her hand at solving the problems. It looks like she's working alone. Once again, she's got an awesome name, so, I can't remember seeing her working with other people before. Thinking back to how shy she is, it's understandable. Hey, that girl over there. Huh? Who, He-chan? Her, Hanako, over there. Does she always work alone? I think so, He-chan. Do you feel sorry for her because she's alone? I was just thinking maybe she could work with us or something. No, I don't think that would be a good idea, He-chan. Why not? She-chan wouldn't get along with her. Why? Misha shuffles around the question, letting out a laugh that sounds very strange. It's nervous, but still it has that lilting up and down quality present in everything she says. Just because, He-chan. By now, Shizune has noticed our conversation. And it makes me realize again how Misha has been signing everything she has been saying this whole time. What, Shi-chan? The friend of my enemy is my enemy? That sounds so harsh. I'm not gonna say that. You said it anyway. I know, He-chan. It's fine if you overhear. I wonder if this is what Misha's way of keeping things fair, since without her, I wouldn't be able to understand the things Shizune is saying, and vice versa. Is that also why she signs all the time? So there is never a conversation Shizune will be so there is never a conversation Shizune will be left out of? Anyway, we should start on the problems now, He-chan. Oh, I want to go help Hanako! Good lord. Sorry about that. We finished with time to spare, and I decided it's time to ask if there are any alternatives to the cafeteria, as frankly, the food so far has been subpar. This sends Shizune and Misha arguing among themselves about their favorite restaurants. All of them are downtown, so I don't think we have time to go all the way there. And what about the bill? Are they just arguing for the fun of it? Maybe. They seem so distracted by it that they don't even notice the start of the actual lunch break. I look over my shoulder to the back of the classroom. She seems to be studying her notes from the previous class. It's an odd sight. Everyone in the class is busying themselves with the lunch break. Socializing, gossiping, rearranging desks. The one with actual box lunches mixed in with the chattering like everyone else, only interrupted by short bouts of eating. But when I watch Hanako, it feels like I'm the only one that can see her, almost as if she was invisible, sort of hiding in plain sight. Is she being bullied? Is she isolating herself from the rest of the class on her own accord? I see her look over her shoulder towards the classroom's rear door. Come to think about it, she hasn't turned a page since I've started watching her. I guess she's waiting for someone. What to do? I'm gonna go talk to her. I feel bad for making her run away yesterday, so I'd better say something. Hey there, Hanako. So? At least she remembers my name. I just wanted to apologize for yesterday. I didn't mean to startle you or anything. I'm just new here and I thought I should get to know my classmates. As Hanako looks up at me, I notice her scarring once more. It's a little bewildering that you can barely notice it from across the room, but it's so noticeable from close up. Yeah, most things usually are. That's okay. It was my fault. Nah, it wasn't anyone's fault. It just kinda happened. So are you waiting for someone? I saw you looking at the door before. Yes, Lily. Oh, you mean Lily, the blind girl? Hanako only nods in response, and I can't help but wonder if defining people through their disabilities is a faux pas of the worst kind, or just normal here. I guess that explains why Lily took off after her yesterday. She seems like a nice girl. Are you two friends? Yes. As if hoping for Lily to appear, she checks over her shoulder again. I think I'm making her nervous again. I hope I'm not disturbing you right now. No, that's not it. It's just easier if Lily doesn't come here. Oh, because it's hard to get around the classroom? Not really. Hanako's gaze drifts past my shoulder towards Shizune. Shizune? Hanako nods again. What about her? Don't they get along? Hanako shakes her head. Clearly this is something she doesn't want to talk about. It does make a strange sort of thing, Shizune and Lily not getting along so well, that is. Communication between the two would be all but impossible. It's hard enough talking to Shizune through Misha, even when you can see those hands are talking. Hanako is so focused on Shizune that I am the first to notice Lily at the door. Oh, she's here now. Hanako spins around to confirm this. Upon seeing Lily, she quickly moves to the door. Lily. Ah, Hanako, good morning. Is the president here? Yes. Hanako glances over her shoulder at Shizune again, as if to confirm that she can't hear them even though that's impossible. I suppose we'd best be off then. Lily's signed tone of what seems like frustration makes me raise an eyebrow. I guess there's some kind of enmity between the two. I can never say that word. It's intriguing, but that's not really something I'd ask about. I'm sure if they wanted to let me know, then they would tell me. It's only my third day here. I should try to make friends. I should be trying to make friends, not trying to figure out why people are enemies. Still, it's a little funny to find out that this school has little feuds, just like my old high school. Even if people are more tolerant of others, they're still going to get on each other's nerves. Very true. Hey Lily, how are things? I'm sorry I made you run off yesterday. Oh my, is that Hisao? I didn't realize you were here. Seems that Lily is a little embarrassed about being so frank in front of me. Sorry, Lily, I thought you realized. No, it's alright, Hanako. Hisao, please don't worry about yesterday. It was just a misunderstanding. If you say so, I'm still working this place out. Well then, I think you'll find most people here a lot more forgiving than elsewhere. If you're feeling a little confused, please don't be afraid to ask questions. Sure, I'll remember that. Lily. Lily gives a small nod of acknowledgement. I'm sorry, Hisao, but we must be off. Hanako doesn't really look all that comfortable here right now, and Lily still seems a little embarrassed. I wonder if my apologies really made any impact. Mind if I accompany you two? I know I'm kind of pushing it, but Lily hums quietly, still smiling. I'm sure that we can accommodate you, can't we, Hanako? She looks at Lily, then at me, then she freezes wide-eyed. Sure. Well then, shall we go? I'm sure Lily wouldn't do this so easily if she saw how scared Hanako looks, but it can't be helped now. Declining after the deal is sealed would only cause confusion and problems. So we leave, all three together. Lily walks beside the wall, letting her cane gently tap against it every now and then. Hanako comes along right beside her, so close that she's practically tugging her as they go. Although it must make her walking that much harder, Lily takes it in stride. As we turn the corner of the hallway, something hits me in the chest with the force of a steam train. Hanako shrieks a little, and my vision briefly goes black. Ouch! Opening my eyes, I see a pair of saucer green eyes looking up at me. They belong to the perpetrator, a short girl who bumped into me and is now fallen down onto the hallway floor. She wears a PE uniform and a very worried frown. The former strikes me as a rather strange thing to have on during a lunch break. More striking than that, though, is that she doesn't have any legs. Or she does, but they're not flesh and bone. Her pale and very much flesh and bone thighs end in shins, and feet are made of some black metallic or plastic-like material. They look disturbingly artificial and unnatural. It almost makes me forget that my chest is hurting. The girl winces a little, rubs her nose, and jumps up. Oh man, hey, are you alright? I'm sorry about that, really. I wasn't looking where I was going and you just came out of nowhere. Sorry. She's looking real apologetic in the hurt puppy way of looking apologetic. I quickly forget about being angry or anything since hurt puppies are my weak spot. It's okay. Don't worry about it. Oh. As I say that, there's a stinging pain growing in my chest, and I know this is about the biggest possible danger for my condition. Don't overexert yourself, don't forget your medication, and most of all, don't get hit in the chest. I try to rub my solar plexus to chase the pain away, holding my breath in an attempt to hear my heartbeat. Oh, this ain't good. It seems normal. Okay, then maybe it's not so bad. Hey, should I get a nurse? The worried high pitch of the girl's voice snaps me out of it. Stare at her for a few seconds dumbfounded until I realize I probably looked worse off than I really was. Doubled over myself and looking all tense. Damn, I'm overly worried about my heart. No need, I'm fine. Managing to say something in response, I pull myself upright, feeling my sore ribs one last time, and taking a deep breath. She just knocked the wind out of me. Big time, but it's nothing more than that. Are you sure you're okay? I hit you pretty hard. It's okay. Said I was fine and nothing's broken. No harm done. That's good. Sal, what happened? She's not quite up to speed for obvious reasons, but she sounds very worried. More than the situation deserves, really. Someone just bumped into me. Nothing serious, just winded. Oh, sorry. It's my fault. I was just going to get some stuff and I was in kind of a hurry. That someone here is Emmy, isn't it? The little girl coughs quietly and shuffles her plastic or metallic feet, looking down at them before saying anything. Hi, Lily, Hanako. I guess the girls know one another. Do please try to be more careful. You might be sturdy enough to endure those sort of accidents, but there are people who aren't. The girl blushes and starts to fidget nervously like a little child caught misbehaving. I find it so cute. It's so cute I find myself smiling. Know that, I was just... I gotta go. Teacher will have my head. I promised to help with the printouts and I went running instead. Sorry, I gotta change and everything. Excuse me. Before any of us can say a thing, Emmy has already bolted away, leaving the hallway eerily quiet. Does that kind of thing happen around here often? There are more rules in Yamaku than usual for running in corridors, but that rarely stops Emmy, it seems. She shakes her head weakly and offers a slight composed smile. I don't think there's anything we can do to stop her, I'm afraid. Shall we be off then? Lily heads off along the hallway and Hanako hurries after her. The route to the room the two use for tea is fairly simple to good lord. Retrace, being still fresh in my mind from yesterday. Lily and Hanako quietly go about the business of making lunch. Before I can even open my small bag of food, Lily's busying herself with her thermos and tea bags as Hanako is setting out both their lunch boxes. So is this what you meant by coming here almost every day? Yes, Hanako and I usually have lunch here. Suits both of us, so we ended up using this room regularly. After seeing Hanako's reaction to me the past couple of days, I can understand why this is a boon. That and Lily being able to get some quiet away from her class as well. I take my seat last after Lily's poured the tea for us and sits down. Oh, she's so cute. The more time I spend with these two girls, the more I think they're a perfect foil to Misha and Shizune. Even without a voice, Shizune is direct and brash, and Misha seems to get along with everyone. On the other hand, Lily is soft-spoken and relaxed, while Hanako seems to be the shyest girl I've ever met. So, how are you feeling? Feeling? Yes, I am feeling in Yamaku. Woohoo! So, how are you faring in Yamaku, Hisao? You seemed a bit flustered before. Apart from getting lost every now and then and being crash-tackled outside my classroom, fine, I guess. You looked pretty hurt before. Are you really okay? For a brief moment, I considered telling Hanako and Lily about my condition, but then I hold it back. I can't tell why, but for some reason I feel uncomfortable talking about it to the relative strangers, even though they have been pretty friendly. Yeah, it's nothing. I was just a bit startled. Judging from the two girls' expressions, I really don't think they're buying it. But in what I assume is their way of respecting my privacy, they don't press the matter. I guess that's one of the unwritten rules around here. Don't ask. Even if people's conditions are obvious, like Hanako's, there's still bound to be a story involved. Everyone has things that they don't feel comfortable speaking about, and I think everyone recognizes that. So, how long have you been in this school? You both seem to know your way around pretty well. Well, I've been here since the start of high school, but only moved into the dormitories a year ago. Hanako joined at the start of high school as well and moved to the dormitories when she did, if memory serves me right. That's right, since high school. So you've known each other since then? Since I moved, yes. Hanako lives next door to me, so it's only natural, right? Right. Yeah, of course. Living next to someone is probably reason enough to befriend them, though I'm guessing that Lily's blindness played a part in it as well. I can't imagine Hanako easily making friends with someone who has to deliberately avoid looking at her scars. With the immediate conversation dried up, we start to eat our lunch. It isn't long before the bells are signaling the end of the break. Like me, the girls pack up their lunches as efficiently as they set them out. I guess I'd better be off. Are you going to go with Hisao, Hanako? Hanako looks up at me, and for a second I can see she's considering skipping class, maybe just to avoid walking to the classroom with me. Yes. I don't know what to think of it. Hanako really is delicate to the point of breaking if I looked at it in the wrong way. Makes me a bit nervous too, but I push the feeling aside, trying to be as natural as I can. We should hurry then. Class has already started by the sound of it. Lily gives a nod of farewell as she bends down to take her cane, Hanako and I filing out before her. We walk quickly down the empty halls to our respective classes. As we reach Lily's 3-2 classroom, she turns towards me. Hisao, thank you for sharing lunch with us today. My pleasure, Lily. And with that we part ways, Lily entering her classroom and leaving Hanako and I to make off on our own. She's still looking like she wants to run away. So do you really want to go back to class now? Yes. Okay then. I feel like I should say something more to her, but it's hard to come up with anything that would be appropriate or safe enough. And Lily was right. The more time we spend out here, the more explaining we have to do. I open the rear door to the class and walk in. The teacher looks up at me and opens his mouth to say something. However, as Hanako follows me in and closes the door, he simply nods to us and continues his lecture. This is the third time that Hanako has had her truancy practically ignored. There's definitely something going on here. As we make our way to our seats, and I notice that Misha and Suzune are both missing as well. I wonder if it's some form of informal agreement with the staff, or if it's just a perk afforded to unique students of this school. Trying to make as little disturbance as I can, I extract the relevant textbooks from my bag and start catching up. The class goes on quietly. The teacher seems like an okay person, despite a weird first impression I got, and the material is relatively interesting. However, the way he teaches it is really bizarre. It's as if he expects that everyone here is a natural genius. As the final bell sounds, I realize there's still a lot of time left in the day, and I'm left wondering what to do. It's odd, at the hospital I had 24 hours a day of free time, but here, filling the considerable shorter hours feels difficult. Everyone else leaves, and I'm left alone with the teacher. Muto is explaining the assignment sheets that we were working on earlier, marking them with a red ball pen. Raising his eyes from his papers briefly, he notices me and furrows his brow. "What is it, Nakai?" I jump at him addressing me, but I guess it's only natural to spark some conversation since there's no one else around. Nothing. Thinking about what I'd do after school." The teacher slowly puts the cap on his pen he's been holding and arranges his papers into a stack, clacking it against the desk twice. He seems very methodical, and for a brief moment I'm reminded of Shizune, but the teacher is more unhurried and relaxed, much more routine. "You have no plans?" "No, I considered joining a club, but I don't know what kind of club would interest me." "Go observe a meeting of someone else's club. It might pique your interest." "I guess. And I don't know how to continue on from there. Muto looks at me in the way that makes me quickly want to take the words back to avoid a conversation. But I can't, so I have to forge ahead. I just don't know how to deal with people. I mean, the other students. I'm talking to people and everything, so it's not that I'm isolated or anything. I just don't know what to think about it. With disabilities, it feels like I'm being impolite if I pay attention to them and weird if I ignore them. Damned if I do and damned if I don't. Teacher scratches his cheek absent-mindedly, looking very unresponsive. These things are only an issue if you make them one. You can talk normally with someone even if they are blind or something. Try to look beyond the superficial. There's not a single student here who isn't just a normal kid behind whatever they might seem at first glance. Wiser words have not been spoken. He says the same thing that Yuko did. I know they're right, but it's hard. How can you not consider, for example, Shizune's deafness when the only way to communicate with her is through talking through Misha or Hanako? It's not like you can ignore her face. But I'm interrupted by the door of the classroom suddenly slamming open. Teacher! Misha crashes in, hands straight in an enthusiastic greeting, her voice loud and lively enough to wake the dead from their graves. She starts towards the teacher desk with her bouncing step, hands energetically swinging with the rhythm. Muto, obviously dismayed at the interruption, and Misha in general, slumps in his chair. Mikado. Misha stops in her tracks and looks around cluelessly as she's sensing from his tone that there's something wrong but has no idea what. Yes? We talked about volume control before. Yes. But she doesn't lower her voice at all, and the teacher just rubs his eyes. So, what is it? We need your help. We're running out of supplies for the festival stands. This is a distress. She waves a pink slip of paper she's been holding around. So, go get more supplies from the art room. What's the problem with that? Plywood. Plywood is always the problem. Last time we wanted more, there was only a little. And that time we took it all and went with that. Now there's like none left there, so do you know where there is some? I don't understand. How would I know? The president thought that a teacher would know if there was any plywood. Was she wrong? Muto looks like he is in great pain, frowning with his entire essence. And Misha doesn't get it at all. Looking at the two of them communicate is horrible, like looking at a man being tortured by drilling his skull open while blasting pop music at full volume at the same time. I'm afraid I have no idea if there is any plywood in the school, let alone where it would be if there was any. Oh, what should I do? Perhaps I should try to find Mr. Nomiya? Nomiya? You'd have to pry them from his cold dead hands, but that's a different matter. I don't have time. We're so busy. She holds her head in both of her hands, looking as despairing as it's possible for a person like her. Without even noticing, she crumples the note she's holding against her hair. I shouldn't even be fetching these things. There's so much to do and we are falling behind the schedule. Muto looks gravely at her and then suddenly smiles. Smiling doesn't fit his face. I think it'd be better if he didn't. I wonder if you could get some temporary help. He switches to staring at me focusedly with a hard expression as to say, go make some friends. I guess I could give you a hand. You can? Thanks, E-chan. You really are nice. She pauses, does a double take, and then points at me with her finger, yelping, "Ah!" and looking very puzzled. Come to think of it, what's E-chan doing here? Class is over. You should be having fun. We just had a little chat. Oh no, it's not detention, is it? Are you in trouble, E-chan? No, I'm not. Is E-chan in trouble, teacher? No, he's not. Muto sighs deeply, and I feel I have to help Misha get her off the teacher's back. So, what do you need? Here's a list. I can try to find the plywood from somewhere if there's none of that in the art room. She offers me the note she's holding. I take it hesitating a bit. I said I'd help you, but this has no implications of whether I'll be joining the council or not. Aww. Still, thanks, E-chan. Try to be quick. We are in a stall building street now. We must hurry, hurry, hurry. She bounces out of the classroom, leaving me and the teacher looking at each other with something that feels like a silent agreement. Well, there you have it, Nakai. You have something to do now. Please don't sound so smug. Looking at the list and the number of items ranging from paint to plywood, all written with small, neat handwriting, which is undoubtedly Shizune's, I heave a sigh. I'll be going then. Yay. Waving the long list limply at the teacher, I exit to the hallway. The classrooms closest to ours are designated belonging to classes 3-1 and 3-2 on the right side, and 3-4 on the left side, each door looking exactly the same. Further down the corridor, still with identical doors, are rooms that I don't even think were used for classes. I guess the art room is not a classroom as such. I carefully push open the furthest door and peek in. It's a classroom, but it seems rather badly kept or not in use. Am I in the right place? Desks and chairs are all around the room. A thin layer of dust settled on them. There are some easels in the corner, so at least it looks like the right place. The room is flushed with sunlight from the big windows, shadows creeping all over the desk. Specks of dusk are dancing in the stagnant air, making the beams of light look almost visible. Jokingly, I call into the empty room. "Anybody hunt?" Something catches my eye, and I stop mid-sentence. Sitting on the desk is a short-haired girl, curiously wearing a boy's uniform, with a fork between her toes, a morsel of food firmly stuck at the end. This odd way of dining seems to be caused by her apparent lack of hands, but her presence here is what takes me back even more. How did I miss her before? She was sitting in the corner very still, and I somehow took her as part of the furnishing or a statue at first glance. I'm not being too observant today as a whole. The girl seems to be frozen in place, staring at me with her huge eyes like a rabbit in headlights. She's staring at me, her mouth wide open, ready to accept the fork. I'm staring at her, my mouth wide open, suddenly remembering that I didn't finish my sentence and trying to think if I should. This weird stalemate keeps us both stunned into silence, punctuated only by the wall clock ticking rhythmically. "Hello." The girl stuffs the forkful into her mouth and is now staring at me expectantly while chewing. This is a bit awkward. Hello, I was told up to pick some supplies up here. For some festival stalls, I think. I didn't think there would actually be someone here." I would have said that. Whatever. "There isn't. That's why I came here too." She picks up another forkful. "Doesn't that mean you're here then?" She raises her eyebrows as she was suspecting my observation was false. "You're pretty observant. I guess it does. But who are you?" Girl's pretty straightforward, isn't she? "I'm Nakai, Hasao Nakai. Just transferred in on Monday." "I'm Rin. Tezuka Rin. Rin Tezuka." "I won't shake hands with you, but at least we know who we are now." "That's very nice." Her deadpan manner of talking makes it hard to determine whether she's joking about shaking hands or not. It kind of bothers me joking about these matters. Joking about these matters doesn't feel appropriate at all. While I'm trying to figure out what's appropriate and whether this girl is, she seems to have lost interest in me and is now gazing yearningly back at her food. "Can I continue my lunch?" "If you don't mind me, I won't mind you. If you need to get your stuff, the supplies are at the back." "Oh, go right ahead, but lunch? School's already over for the day." "What word would you use then? There's no word for a meal you eat after lunch but before dinner, right?" It bothers me very much too, and I don't really know what I should say. "I don't think you're supposed to eat a meal between lunch and dinner to begin with." "But I'm hungry now, and my delicious boxed lunch would go to waste otherwise." "I have curry. It's very delicious." With much decisiveness, Rin once again picks up the fork between her toes, and with at least much impoliteness, she points it straight at me. "So, Nakai, what brings you to this place?" "Like I said, I was told to look for these things." "No, the school." "From outside you look fine. Is your problem inside?" I came to a full stop, opening my mouth but not getting a word out. I can guess. I'm good at guessing. Better than most people." Rin cuts me off before I can answer her question or skirt around it somehow. I don't know which I would have done. I froze in front of the issue again. I haven't told anyone here about my condition, or maybe it's only because it really hasn't come up. I do get the feeling that not making issues of this is part of the social code here, as the teacher said. I wonder if people here could relate. Probably not any better than any normal person could. I can't relate to Shizune's circumstances, or Lily's either. Naturally, while I go about this in my head, Rin keeps considering what my condition can be, with an overtly contemplative look on her face. She puts a fork in between her lips and leans back, looking at the ceiling as if the answer is written up there. A beam of light illuminates her face from the window side, creating a mask of dark shadow on the other side. I don't think it's anything in your head, or at least something in your guts would definitely and something in your guts would be boringly ordinary, like this lunch of mine, and less delicious. The problem must be in your pants. Oh my! Oh my! This messed up Sherlock Holmes kind of statement, the sheer lack of tact it was delivered with catches me completely off guard. I think I've been reeled back even physically as Rin's eyes widen in revelation and astonishment. So I was right. There's something wrong with your tackle, isn't there? My bait is perfectly fine, thank you. Still partially in shock, but recognizing the need to reply something, I spit out the first thing I could think of. No, it's nothing like that. I have a heart problem, arrhythmia. I said it. More like blurted out, but I said it. The girl in front of me purses her lips together and glowers at me, looking very disappointed. How boring. Trouble in the pants would have been much more scandalous. What's with this reaction? I'm sorry to have let you down. I forgive you. I collect people, and a person with, that kind of problem would have been really great. Collect people? People with different problems. So you just, go around asking people what's wrong with them? Pretty much. I see. With little left to say, Rin resumes her lunch and the conversation dies away, but I keep thinking about what was said. First time I'd told anyone about my condition. All the other people have either known about it already or just heard it from somebody else. Or didn't need to know about it, like every other student here so far. Should I have told it as a natural part of introductions? Is it expected of me? Hi, I'm Sal. I have a very serious heart condition. Is that how I'm supposed to go around introducing myself from now on? As if our disabilities would define us. What a disgusting thought. Yeah, you're learning something, ain't you? Or maybe this Tezuka girl is just an unnatural interest in such things. As I walk to the back of the room and pick up the items on Misha's list, a chance opens to study Rin from the corner of my eye. Her hair is a burnt auburn, almost orange, and cropped short. Long hair would probably be impossible with no arms. The boy's uniform and the lack of arms make her look very thin, almost scrawny. She's not particularly pretty except for her murky green eyes which flicker restlessly from below her short bangs, even when she eats. The distance and the shadows make it look like they don't reflect sunlight at all, but instead absorb all of it within them like deep wells. She moves her feet almost as deftly as a normal person would use their arms. However, I can see how this sight would discomfort people, especially while eating. It makes me a bit uncomfortable at least. I hesitate to think of the word unnatural, but it's too late now, isn't it? I keep searching the cabinets, I would imagine they meant cabinets, and shelves for Misha's things, but after enough time passes, the silence grows too uncomfortable, so I try to force some conversation out of this strange girl. So, do you always eat alone in this late, or do you get the occasional visitor? Visitors? Maybe you're my first occasional visitor. But I don't always eat alone, either. Sometimes I eat with a certain person on the roof, if she's not horsing around. Horsing? She likes to do sports. Oh, that's all I could think to say. Both of us fall silent again as Ren forks the last bits of her meal into her mouth. I look down at my haul and double-check Misha's list. It seems I have everything except plywood. I think I have all the things now. It's very nice for you. Don't feel obliged to stay. I was about to take a nap anyway. You do whatever you're going to do with that stuff. You need to do whatever you're going to do with that stuff anyway, right? Or perhaps you like to watch girls sleeping. Not sure what to make of this, but Ren looks serious. Even if I did, I think I have to be going. I'll catch you around, Tezuka. You can call me Ren. I feel that our relationship is at a point good enough to warrant this much. I was already turning to make my exit, but she draws me back in. Fine then, I'm Hisao. Then you are. Ren looks at me hard in the eyes with that intimidating feeling you get when someone stares at you. When someone stares at you isn't there. It's like she's not looking at me at all. She blinks a couple times, and I can't figure out why a pause like this just popped between us out of nowhere. See you later, Hisao. There's something like a tiny smile there in her face. Maybe. I quietly back out of the room. As I shut the door in front of my face, I whisper to myself, what an intriguing person. From inside, I hear a muffled, sing-song voice. I heard that. What did she hear? Holy crap! I jump at the subtle appearance of Misha, who I had not heard approaching despite the completely empty hallway. Somehow she got into jumping distance of me without making a sound. Creepy. Briefly reminds me of Kenji's nutty theory about the global feminist conspiracy, but I pushed that thought aside. Shizune, standing slightly behind Misha, looks aloof as she couldn't have heard the remark that drew Misha's attention, but Misha is visibly excited. No, wait, more importantly, who is in there? There are no club meetings today. She tries to curiously peek past me, even though the door prevents her from seeing anyway. What are you doing here? You took so long that we're having to check what's wrong. That's no good, He-chan. She wags her finger at me scoldingly. I found plywood, but everything else is missing because you are tardy. Sorry, I got the things here and I was just going to bring them. I wonder if you were up to some mischief, He-chan. Who was in there with you, I wonder? Misha signs something quickly to Shizune, pointing at her own ear a couple of times. Shizune immediately pushes her way past me and opens the door into a classroom I just left. I can only imagine the shock she is experiencing. With Shizune's diligence and attitude, the insolence of daring to deface school property by sleeping on top of it must be too much to bear. And indeed, she stares at Ren, frozen in place apart from the slight but noticeable trembling of her shoulders. From suppressed rage, I'm sure. Instead of blowing up, Shizune just takes a few deep breaths, adjusts her glasses, and slams the door shut, turning to sign furiously at Misha. Maybe she did blow up, but I can't understand it. Yep, she looks pissed. She shoots a very loaded stare at me too, like it is somehow my fault that Ren is sleeping on one of the tables. I hope she's not getting any funny ideas about the reason for my tardiness. Hello. Ren's voice comes from the other side of the door, and it takes a few eye blinks to realize she might have trouble opening it. I open the door to find Ren directly behind it, looking at us with a half-interested, half-sleepy face. Hello. Miss Tezuka, what do you think you are doing? You are absolutely not permitted to use school property for such a disgraceful activity. It sure is suddenly crowded in here. I didn't know I was this popular. It's hard to say whether she's happy or unhappy at the turn of events. At any rate, she ignores the scolding and has no choice but to drop the issue. Shizune taps Misha's shoulder, pointing at Rin and making quick signs. Popularity aside, please don't do that anymore. Anyway, how is your project going? Will you be done for the festival? Rin looks at them blankly, apparently at ease under the pressure of Shizune's cold stare is putting on her. I keep wondering that about that myself too. And we'll think about it harder. As Misha signs her reply to Shizune, her face turns to an unsatisfactory frown. Miss Tezuka, please try to take this seriously. It'd be a disaster if the wall looks like someone threw up on their lunch on it. Rin nods assertively. We'll think more seriously. Misha actually giggles at that, but Shizune doesn't. Not even after translation. She just shakes her head, takes her materials from me, and takes off with Misha in tow. Rin frowns thoughtfully as she looks after the retreating student council duo. How rude. It's true, though. I must finish my project before the weekend. There will be dire consequences if I don't. The end of the world as we know it, like weekends usually are, but more dire. Much more dire. Maybe I'll postpone my nap to unforeseen future. I'm not to ask what project she has or what those apocalyptic consequences, but she walks back into the art classroom. Since you have nothing to do, would you give me a hand? This paint can doesn't fit into my bag, but I need it. She kicks lightly at a huge can of paint that's lying on the floor next to the table she was sitting and sleeping on. It lets out a dull clang. Being the gentleman I am, I naturally pick it up. Heavy. Yeah, sure. Where do you need me to take it? Away. And with that, she takes off in the hallway and the paint can. Me and the paint can following, since there's little choice for either of us. The hallway is quiet and empty now with Shizune and Misha gone, so we two lead towards the stairwell at the other end. Every 10, 15, or 20 steps, I have to change the can from one hand to another because the thin handle cuts into my palm. At least it's keeping my arms from tiring too fast. Rin strolls on beside me with an uneven pace that I have trouble matching, or maybe because I'm walking weird because of the extra weight. It seems one of us is constantly walking too slow or too fast, and I can't figure out which. 2 flights of stairs below, trouble appears in the form of the head nurse and his fox-like grin. Ah, Mr. Nakai, what a happy coincidence. Tezuka too, of course. He nods courteously to Rin, who does not acknowledge him back, and then turns to me because obviously it's me who he had business with. There's something I forgot to mention on Monday. I nod and wait impassively because I can't even begin to guess what he forgot. The feeling of the handle delving deeper into my skin doesn't make me feel enthusiastic about the interruption either. It's about your medications. Since you haven't been that long on your current medication, there might be some unexpected side effects, which might require adjusting dosages or even changing to another type of med. So we'll do a few tests regularly, but what I'd want is for you to keep an eye on everything in your condition that feels off, if you get what I mean. Nausea, headache, anything, and come to me if something happens. Alright. And how are you? Everything fine? I give up and drop the can on the floor before answering him. Apparently this takes longer than my biceps can handle. I'm about to say something generic as an answer, and then I realize how often I've done that lately. Other people have asked me that too. Teachers and students here, my parents, nurses, doctors at the hospital. Everyone seems to be concerned about that. It's natural for a hospital, not so much for a school. Except this school. This is a small school and boasts the student base and faculty seem to be very tightly knit. At least that's the feeling I'm getting. And this is not the kind of school that gets transfer students too often. The thought sends shivers up my spine, but I give a generic answer anyway. That's great, and also one other thing. My sources tell me that you've been at neither the school track nor even the pool, so I'd like to know if you've taken up exercising as I asked. Of course I hadn't, but his way of inquiring gives me the feeling that I should have been running my ass off the track since the very first day. You have people spying on me? Not as such. I just happen to know a few people. But that's not an issue here, so don't try to slip out on it. Well, I was actually doing some improvised weightlifting as an exercise. I picked and lift the can up and down a few times for some sad imitation of a bodybuilder, even though it's weighing down my arms painfully. The stupid grin disappears from his face for a second, and it comes back like it was never gone. Suzuka, would you give us a second? The nurse grabs me by the shoulder without waiting for Ren's permission, as if he didn't need it in the first place, and drags me aside. When I told you to exercise, I wasn't joking. I understand that it's still your first week and all, but please don't ignore the importance of this. The reason I'm coming down this hard on you is that habits are not easy to form. The more you slip and postpone, the harder it will be. The same with everything, like dieting. Can you promise me you'll be more serious about this from now on? Yeah, I'd rather not croak, so yeah, I promise, definitely. He studies me for a moment, then shrugs, smiling again. Okay, that's more like it. So if you go to the school track tomorrow morning, you'll meet my spy, who probably has no qualms offering consultation to you if you want to jog a bit. Consultation? See you around. He leaves with a wave of his hand, no answer, and I walk to Ren, who has been waiting, idly leaning against the hallway wall and staring at the pale lighting fixture in the ceiling. Even when I approach, she doesn't move her eyes off them. Are you getting medications for your heart thingy? Were you listening? It comes out more accusatory than I intended, accidentally lashing out at her. But even so, I don't really want to start talking about it. I just met her. I don't know her. It's not her business. The nurse seems to be happily ignorant about confidentiality, too, talking about that kind of thing in public. But it's not Ren's fault, is it? I look at her, suddenly feeling a bit guilty, but Ren is just staring past my shoulder quizzically, her head tilted like a bird. I don't know why this is so hard for me. It feels like there's some inexplicable lock that prevents me from being more upfront about this. Yeah, they're for my heart. Will they make you better? No, not really. They just make me a little less worse. Ren keeps looking at me for a while longer, and she neither says anything further nor displays any kind of emotion that I can discern. I'm thankful that she doesn't. I'm still not quite used to all this. At the hospital it was easy, but I still haven't sorted my feelings about having to live a normal life with this disability. We leave the main building and Ren leads us towards the dorm. We stop at a small patch of greenery towards the dorm building. This dorm is built on slightly elevated ground with a wall and a few trees that everyone has to circle every time they come and go. It's probably the only inconvenient design in the school. The entire wall made of some kind of bricks. Excuse me. As the building itself has been covered with some sort of painting. Most of it is still mere sketches, quick lines drawn black and white against the gray plastering that covers them almost the entire length of the wall, but some places look a bit more finished. There are human faces and legs and hands, and I can't quite say what the painting as a whole might portray. Stacks of what seem like paint cans are arranged in piles along the ground beside the wall. See, the left side is hardly off the ground yet. It's because I couldn't get in the mood yesterday, so I gave up and went to meditate instead. And then it was suddenly morning. I have to work on it, but the guys from art class are helping with the negative spaces and base surfaces whenever, which is a problem. It's easier to paint big areas if there are a lot of people with hands. The reach is better, and it's faster too. She goes on a tangent of a tangent, waving a little with her arm or whatever there is actually, to demonstrate, even though I got the point already. The white cotton of her sleeve flaps around, and it makes me think it could look sadder than it does. But it makes me feel out of place. Almost every tangible reminder of the student base's special properties has in it, that the student base's special property has in it the past few days. The girl doesn't notice my dreary feelings, of course, or the fact that she lost me a while ago already, and just keeps on blabbering. So that's why I'm trying to figure out if there's something I need to figure out, and then figure that out before it's too late, or all hope is lost. Why would hope be lost? Because paint has to be painted, and then it has to dry, and then it has to be painted over with another kind of paint. It takes time. She finally stops, apparently thinking she'd made some sort of statement that makes sense. I think it's best to start from the top. So this is your project? You did this? Yes. All of it? Yes. Nice, but... Stumble on my words, suddenly feeling I've walked straight into a minefield of political incorrectness. It's okay, you can say it. I probably won't get mad. I blush really hard. I don't really know what would be the right thing to say, if any. It feels I'm way more sensitive than Ren is, though. This is really awkward. Don't you want to ask? How do you paint without hands? See, I'm an easy person to talk to, right? With my feet. I almost guessed that already, but isn't that hard to do? You're good at guessing. Anyway, I don't think it is. Maybe I'm used to it by now. I can't get my mind around the fact that she could be an artist, but seeing how adept she was at using her feet to eat, I figure painting might not be a problem either. Neither of us has anything more to add to the subject. The afternoon light works pretty well. I was afraid it would look too flat, but it's not like that after all. I think it's actually pretty interesting. I wanted to see what it looks like in dim light. Do you think it's flat? Well, paintings tend to be flat. Not like that flat, flat. Some people are no substance, no meat, where there should be some. I know a few girls who... Okay, I get it. I couldn't really tell. I'm not that good with art. I can't name many artists or artistic terms, so I don't really have anything to say. Ren shrugs her shoulders, saying, suit yourself without saying it, and looks up at the sky as if to look for something there. I didn't think I'd get her any actual work done, but if you give me a hand with the paints, I can do a little before it gets too dark. I wanted to get a halogen lamp like the ones they have at the sports track, but there aren't any. Ren is quick to recruit my help, as was Shizune. It makes me feel that the festival is such a big project that every pair of hands is needed. Why not? I'm not really sure I can be of any help, though. It's just mixing some paints. You can do that, probably. Do you have motor control problems? You know, there are some people who have some. Cerebral palsy, maybe? Not that I know of. I get it. Heart thingy has nothing to do with that. She gives me a sly look for no reason. No, it doesn't. Let's do it then. As she sits on an empty wooden box and very naturally picks up a wide brush between her toes with her bare right foot. I open a few cans and pour some of the contents into shallow bowls for mixing. The thick paint flows lazily from the cans to the bowl like syrup. I mix them, creating funny, hypnotic swirl patterns that melt quickly into each to form a new monotone hue. Rin sits to work every now and then asking me for a hand with something or that or another. Finding different brushes was easy enough, but mixing the paints to be the exact tone this girl is apparently seeing in her head is a frustrating ordeal. She wants precision down to the last milliliter before she was satisfied, but her instructions are obscure at best. Add half a splash of green. I crouch down to pick up a can of bright green. The other green, this green. Carefully pour some of the other green paint into the mixing bowl. No, that's almost a whole splash. More white. Is green a good color to add? No idea. You're the artist here. A hint of smile appears at the corner of her mouth. Do you lack an opinion? No, it's just I have no idea. It's okay, because I just got an idea. Add more white. With this exclamation, I pour a minuscule amount of white into the bowl and mix it. It looks slightly whiter. That's not good. It has to be more like the color when you wake up and you know you saw the meaning of life in your dream but can't remember it. Maybe it's yellow. Despite the impossibility of mixing a color like the change of seasons or any other nonsense that's being imposed onto me, I find myself enjoying it more than I thought I would. Seeing a painting being born on a plastered wall feels like magic. I spend the moments I have mixing paints, crouching down on the paving and just looking at her work. It feels slightly intrusive at first, like breaking some imaginary intimacy, but Rin doesn't seem to mind the least bit. Maybe it's just in my head. Her entire presence emits a completely different air as she patiently works the details, adding layers of paint on top of other layers of paint, steadily moving her foot across the wall to add new shapes. When I manage to produce a passable mixture of paint, the rare smile on her face is oddly rewarding. Apart from the few words when discussing paint mixes, none of us say a word for the longest time. And even though those short discussions soon evolve into a shorthand, both of us developing and using weird impromptu code words for various paints and hues, it's as if there's some need to converse words and breath and sound. We stay late into the evening until it becomes too dark to paint properly. Oh,